Springtime in Jericho with Mikey. Hey everybody! Another overcast day. Rain in and out, but it's alright. It's been 3 weeks today since we got our lumber delivered. And I've almost got the first wall built. Just literally blocking the last 10 feet of it. I thought I'd show you guys where I am. A little bit of an issue, real small, but let's see if I can zoom in here and show you what is taking a little bit more time than I thought. As I explained a while back, I'm blocking the heck out of this wall, unlike most people, because when I go to the interior, I want to make sure that I've got a nailer all over. Normally, one block in the middle would be enough on a tall wall like this. Short walls, you don't put any. But on this wall, because I am going to put some thin material on the interior, I want to make sure I've got a place to nail it to. I want everything sealed. Even the exterior, I'm going to seal this way. Anyhow, one problem though, when you put all this blocking, it does tend to push the wall out if you miss even just a little bit. So I started dragging some lines, and you can see I started here. I chalk marked up, and you can see how it goes off. 1/8 of an inch or so. That should be dead centered on that stud, and we're not. So I've learned what I have to do is check every couple studs and make sure I can correct for that. So my blocking will have to change just slightly. In this case, it's about 1/8 of an inch off center, so I'm going to make the next block just 1/8 of an inch smaller, just so I straighten them. And you can see the next stud wouldn't be straight at all anyhow. Normally you would just pull that when you do the sheeting, and you'd start to, you'd make sure you're on your 16-inch center. And again, that'll make sure on the interior we're lined up with your drywall, wherever you put. For me, I don't want to have to do all that. If I nail them on the outside wrong, they'll definitely be wrong on the inside, and I wouldn't have nailers in the right spot. I definitely want to pull them not with the sheeting but with the blocks. So anyways, that is what I'm doing, and even to show, I'm doing a little quick cheat over here. I'm just about to cut the next studs, and because I'm 1/8 of an inch off, what I'm going to do is just need a little 1/8 of an inch spacer, and lo and behold, a nail is a perfect 1/8 of an inch spacer. So I just put a little nail there so I can go right to the stop. Everyone will be a 1/8 of an inch short, and I think I've got to check the stop too. It may have moved slightly. I think I'm probably moved maybe a 1/16 of an inch, because it seems to be pushing out a little bit on every one now. So maybe I'll have to start cutting every block just a hair smaller. I'll have to check that on my next cut. But just wanted to show you guys where I was at with it after 3 weeks, and see what the heck we're going to do. If I can get some nice weather, I'll start to get onto the next section of wall around the corner here. We want to try getting 3 walls built before we do the standing, so they kind of interlock with each other, hold each other up. And might even throw some sheeting onto it to keep it square, because it's all square right now. That's why all my straps are holding everything in the right spot. All right, I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for watching. Hello everybody. I just thought I'd take a quick picture. I just caught them. Do you see them throwing the fish in the river there? This is kind of the yearly ritual. Every springtime they come down and stock this Browns River that runs beside my house here. I just caught them. There's a dam there. I've never shown it on the video yet, but there's actually a dam, an old one, just to the right-hand side. And the building we're actually looking at, there used to be a mill. You can actually still see the remains of the wheel in the bottom. The wheels are gone and everything, but the concrete all around the house is still there. But they always stock downstream of the dam. I don't know if they ever stock upstream. It wouldn't be here, and it's really shallow, the river. But there's a lot of guys who like fly fishing down there just under that bridge. See me just dropping off the bridge. The bridge, probably a, I don't know, 8-foot, 10-foot drop. Some years they come with a chute and just let them out and open up the bottom and let them go. And this year they're using a net, taking them out of the tanks and dropping them in. But just something different you don't see every day. Alright guys, other than that, I tried to make a video yesterday and my battery was dead in the camera at night, so I just gave up on it. Came out this morning and gave a start. I got a little bit flustered with myself last night. Here, let's walk over here. I'll show you. After showing you guys how I repaired my wall and it pulled together nicely and how tight it was after the weather we had and everything swelled and everything else and everything moved, I still had a gap again. It's pretty small now, but it was actually bigger last night. And so I thought about it and I said, well, it's never going to get the gap out, and those sills have to touch, not the wall in the middle like I explained in my other video. So instead I knocked out the blocks in that one row only, so that that stud can flex when we pull the walls together. And then once the wall is up and pulled together tight and the sills are touching, I will put the blocks back in and then sheet over it, because we're leaving that one sheet off anyhow when we put the walls up, so that sheet jumps over 2 sections. So I did that last night, some other little things, and I laid out my new wall. We're going to build the wall over there over top of the septic area, so we can just grab it and stand it up and join this wall when we're done. So I'm just putting some concrete blocks out, some 2x6s, so I can build on, and those sills are already marked out. And other than that, it's just a quick cleanup today. Before I start picking up all the wood, I grabbed my little tractor trailer, my little toy, and just started grabbing all the wood so I don't trip over it. And we can see the mountain. It's a beautiful day out. All right, time to get working. Good morning, everybody. Just looking over last night's work. Adobe suggested we build the wall out here over top of the septic area so that we can just grab it with a telehandler, and once we stand the other wall up, we'll be able to just grab this one, stand it right up and put it in place, and they will kind of self-support. I completely agreed. So I laid it all out the other day, and last night I was still nailing in the studs when it got dark. I was trying to clean it up, finish up. The hole in the middle yet is for the window, and that's what I'm going to work on right now, framing it in. This is a much more conventional wall. This is the way most people in the world would build a wall. I just grabbed the tape measure, 16 inches from one side, started marking out the studs. The window is very simple. It's just going in wherever it landed. I didn't have to start setting up, well, I'm going to try centering on a stud hole or a bay and everything else. I did that on the other wall because I have a detail on the interior I want to do. The back wall doesn't matter. I have it lined up actually by accident anyhow, pretty close to where I wanted to anyway. But this is the way 90% of the people in the whole world would build a wall. Straightforward, drop from one end, wherever the window falls, that's where you start putting your studs in. Anyways, that's where that one is sitting up, and actually you can kind of see over this way. There's the missing studs already cut. The length of them they're already cut to, so I can drop them in. They're already marked for the blocking. And let's see, I'll just walk on over this way and show. There's all the little pieces I cut last night already for the window sill and for the cripples under the window and the jacks. And there's the other header parts already cut, waiting to be nailed in. And that's what I'm going to be doing right now. Alright, on the computer I've laid all the distances where everything's going to go, where all the jacks, the triple, the king studs, everything's laid out. And I'm just transferring my marks right now where everything's going to be. Lay it out exactly the way it's going to be or I'll be in trouble. Alright. That's what's going in the wall. Just thinking to myself how heavy this is going to be to move when I'm done. That's all. Getting heavier and heavier, but it's hard to build their place. I think I'm going to have to. Like, I think it's going to get too heavy a lift at some point again. I'm going to need 4 people to carry it, so we'll try and step right down. Trying not to push out. Off. Okay, lunch break's done. Puppy break is done. Everything's done. So I'm back to this. Let's see where we left off. Ready to start thinking about the header. You'll have to excuse me on this. I didn't really think about the order yet. So I'm thinking we'll put the bottom of the header in and the back side. Then we will probably measure for the top pieces. I don't want to make the same mistake I made last time and make the top pieces too long. This time I will actually measure them and cut them when I need them so I know the right length. And then I can put on the cover, and somewhere in there we're going to put the insulation inside the header. The header, by the way, is the large piece of wood on top of the window, because when you put a window in, you're obviously knocking a couple studs out. You have to support those studs. That's going to support the end of the wall, or the top of the wall, and if you have nothing in there, you'll just have the weight bearing down of the top of the wall with nothing to support it. To tie it down through, you have to get the load to go around the window. Not critical on the ends of the house. Critical on the other wall we put up, because that's where the roof rafters are going to sit, and it has to support the weight of the roof rafters. The gable ends aren't near as important, but you still want to make them strong. It also gives you something you can nail your trim to, and nail your, if you have a house, you do curtain rods or whatever. Sometimes people curse because they go, wow, there's nothing up here to nail anything to. Yeah, because the guy didn't put a big enough header, didn't put any header in. But this should always go in. Anyhow, off and running. Again, overkill. Let's pull it tight together and make sure that piece is in there tight. I could actually see everything move when I did that. I just tried to keep that top side to tighten up, so I knew they weren't 100%. And with nothing square, this just tighten the squares. We'll make these square up here. You may see me feeling the bottom a lot of times, but what the heck do you care about the bottom? The bottom's going to be inside, and I care a lot more how that inside finish is going to be. The outside, when you put half-inch sheeting on this whole thing, you won't even notice it underneath the side. You want a little hair up or hair down. And no two pieces of wood are the same. Even though they all came from the same mill, they should be identical. They're not. I'm getting probably 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little more variance in the width of these. So. I'm using my gun in single shot mode. You can put in what they call bump mode, so you just pull the trigger, and you hit, that nail goes. I'm not that good. Tried it a couple times. Fun to try. Nice when you're doing a long piece. When I nailed these in, I was off camera, I turned it off. When I nailed these in, I put it in bump mode, just went along and hit it. And I'm trying to aim for something and make sure I hit it. Yeah. Should be able to hold this by hand. My little clamp will make it feel better because I'm going to hold it tight. Good. 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 All right. Now, before I put the next one in, I need some insulation in there. I will pause the camera because it's going to be a while, but that's going to be covered with another 2x10 on top of it, and then capped off with a 2x6. You'll never be able to get into that area again. So before you seal that area shut, if you're ever going to insulate, it has to be now. And if you don't insulate, obviously you're going to have a great big cold spot in the middle of your wall. So I bought some styrofoam, just because it's a higher R value than like a bat of rock wool or a fiberglass or anything, just for going inside of these headers. So I'm going to go cut a couple pieces. I will be back in a couple minutes. Okay, rain stopped. And so I brought the camera back out. But I've been out here working anyhow. Cut my 2 pieces of styrofoam, and I say 2 just because I needed 2.5 inches of depth. It's kind of odd to find a 2.5 inch piece of styrofoam. It's 2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1 inch. So I used a 1/2 inch piece of foam and a 2 inch piece of foam, put them together, filled up the gap nice and tight. I'm just trimming them off now. And make these fit as tight as I can. The tighter you fit, the better the seal on the edge, the better it'll go. I actually in the house caulked everyone, and I went nuts to put caulking in before I squeezed this all together. We didn't do it to the sides. We were in a little bit of a hurry. I probably won't do it to this one either, because what I think I'm going to do is correct the sub-off correct to make it better, because nobody caulks with me. I will drill a small hole in here from the inside layer, get spray foam, and just hit every one on the edges, so it makes a really good seal all around. Again, the better the seal, the better it's going to perform. No wind will whip by. Wind is a major enemy of heat loss. I mean, it's horrible when you get little bits of wind whipping in there through little cracks and that. That's where you lose a lot of your heat efficiency. When one nail will do, use 10. So, okay, 5. All right, now. Just cleaning up all my little styrofoam, so I won't get it on this 5 pounds or a pile of all after. I'll find it on the wetland there. I like to keep it clean. All right. Now, the reason I did that, I want to measure these pieces. These were the ones I got wrong last time. These are the ones I had to cut in there because they were too long. And I cursed myself because I made a bump above the window. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. So, I need a tape measure, which of course I left over there. Measure those out, cut 4 of those. Nail that into the sub-assembly. Put that top in. We are done with the window. Okay, funniest thing in the world. Maybe not to you guys, to me. On that wall, I know I cut them 63 3/4. They were too high. Good, you know. I showed you guys how I pushed up on the other studs. I just measured these. Exactly 63 3/4. Telling me we probably didn't push everything super tight together there. When I clamped everything, I probably pulled it all tight and was able to make sure there was no stack up error. But on that one, I had to kind of shorten. This is perfect. So 63 3/4. I'm going to turn off the camera for a couple minutes because it'll take me a while to go find some studs and cut them. Be back. Alright, I was going to cut those 4 pieces of wood and come back, but just in the middle of all that, I thought I'd give you guys a little tip. Most woodworkers who do this for a living, carpenters who do this for a living, just grab the saw, mark it, and cut. They don't think twice about it. I'm not that good. I don't do it for a living. So I picked up this tip a long time ago, and I thought that it was a little embarrassing. I didn't want to tell everybody how I do it, you know, in front of other real carpenters. But guess what? The other day I saw a real carpenter do exactly the same thing. So I thought I'd show you guys. Obviously not quite as embarrassing as I thought, because if you can cut a straight line, hey, that's great. But after I've marked it, I know which side of the line I want to cut on. I grab the square, put it against the end, and I use it to guide the saw. Because the saw's got a thick enough plate, it will actually guide the saw. And therefore you can make a straight cut because you're using this. Just make sure you hold it tight against it, make sure you line up the blade, you're going to get a square cut. It's always worked. Like I said, if you're a professional, you grab the saw. You can guys grab worm saws. They're twice as heavy as this in one hand and they're out there driving away. Well, if you do it for a living, that's probably easy to do. If you're like me, a weekend hobbyist kind of thing and that, you do it once in a while or playing out here, hey. And guaranteed, because it followed the square cut. So if you ever need square cuts and you're not an expert and you want to cheat a bit, square, hold it against it, use the saw, guide along the plate. Works every time. Just thought I'd throw that one in. Finish the other ones and go back to the window. Hey, hey, hey! I just realized I forgot to turn the camera back on. All I did is exactly the same as I did on the bottom. I nailed the 4 jacks, upper jacks, up to the upper part of the header, and just brought the whole assembly here, put it in place on top of that header, and I'm just nailing it now. Sorry about that, guys. Hey, one quick thing I forgot to mention. You guys may see that some lumber is questionable compared to other. You know, you've seen me try straightening stuff out. I use a little force here and there. One thing that is interesting is the some of it, let's see, maybe I can even show a better piece here. Got bark taken off both sides, you can see, just does not have a square edge. And that could be a problem when it comes to a stud, because if you need to get the sheeting to match, you can see that one's missing all the way down. That one's missing a huge chunk down there. If you need to sheet something, the idea is the sheet meets right in the middle of that stud. And if it meets in the middle of the stud, you may not have enough material there to meet, because you've only got 3/4 of an inch for each sheet. And that could be a real problem if there's an edge missing. So what I've done is pick the pieces out that are the worst and use them where I don't have an edge. For example, on this piece, this is purely a support. It will not have an edge on it. Two sheets do not come together. This is a 16-inch center. It could have an edge on it. This is a 16, that's a 16. But the ones that don't, who cares if it's got an edge? If it's not going to have anything nailed to it, it's only for supporting top. So I've tried to be strategic about where I've done some of these. Anyhow, just something to note. 2 more studs are done. Well, except for the blocking, which will take another while. There's still need all the blocking in this one, so but let's see where we go. 2 more. Backside. Last time again, I had to do this last night. You need to put a block against it, try pulling it to straighten it. If we had 2 people, it might be easier. One might be able to pull and hold it while the other one drives nails in. Adobe, I did that on the other side, but when you're by yourself, you need to put a block or something to pull against usually. So I will be back. And we're back. All right. Whole nother issue here, just something interesting, maybe not. I don't own cordless tools. I bought some back 25 years ago, and they were great. Oh, more than that, actually, the first set about maybe 30 years ago. And they were great. And the batteries go dead. Yeah, I went to buy batteries, and the batteries cost more than the whole tool. All right, fine. So I remember, waited a little while, bought another one, thought this is fine, you know. Must have been a fluke. They wouldn't do that again. Sure enough, a couple years later, batteries go dead. Batteries are worth more than a darn tool. Alright, so I gave up on them. I just got frustrated. So for 20 some odd years, I have not owned a cordless tool. Well, the other day I was out, well, not the other day, a couple weeks ago now, I realized this job was coming up. Realized that I'm going to have to go and, when you call it, up on ladders and carry stuff, and you really want to drag extension cords up to put a couple screws in and drill a hole. So I picked out a cordless drill, picked out a cordless impact driver. And I thought, that's what I'm going to get. Fine, you know, Milwaukee or something like that, good, well-known name, $400. Yeah, it hurt. And I would love to get a caulking gun to go with it, because after all this caulking you saw me do, man, your hands after a while, it'd be nice to get an electric one, but that was $200 and some odd. So now we're in the $600 and some odd range, and we got only 3 batteries. And anyways, anyhow, I'm trying to figure out what to do. It's still up on my computer screen. I was going to order it, never did. Go out Lowe's the other day. They're selling out 2 different models, if you will. They're selling out their Hitachis, which are now, I forget the model. Anyhow, they're selling out of that models, and they have them for half price. Of course, they already sold out of them. And they have sign up. The Bosch set was on special. These 2 here, normally $349 for the set. You get 2 of these, the 2 batteries, a little bag to put them in that. Normally $349, $142, $200 off. $200 off. I don't care what brand. They gotta be half decent. I didn't even. Normally I do months of research, which do I want, what's got the most torque, what's got the best ratings, everything. But $200 off for $100 and some odd, it's less than half of what I was going to pay for the other set. I said, let's get it. So that's how I came up with cordless tools. So now I have a set. And I've actually even found some extra batteries on the web, so I've got some extra batteries, originals coming even. They do turn out to be a real handy little thing, and I did not realize what I bought. I thought it was just in driver, but it's actually got a square impact socket on the darn thing, this one. And they showed the guy doing it. He tried it himself. He wasn't, you know, paid by the company, I don't believe, or anything. He's taking out lug nuts with this thing, even just show how much torque it has. It's got like 1,800 inch-pounds of torque or something like that. Really quite the amazing tool. So anyhow, now I've got some toys. That's what I'm using. And I just out of interest, I did find an adapter. There was a real cheap caulking gun, Ryobi. They're only $49. Everybody else is $200 and some odd for the ones I want. No battery, just the gun. But obviously it doesn't take a Bosch battery. I went on Amazon and found an adapter to go between the Bosch battery and the Ryobi gun. So that is both on order and on the way for $50 compared to $200 and some odd again. We'll try it, see how it works, but it's worth a try. Well, I will square it up a little bit, measure it corner to corner, see how far off we are. We shouldn't be too bad because I checked it before we started. I'll check it again, make sure we're close, and then I will start doing the blocking. You guys watch me do that, not exciting, but needs to be done. Get it all blocked up. And this one can be sheeted anytime, really. Once I square it, it is its own little section, so it could maybe put the sheeting on it sometime, and it'll be ready to stand up. We'll start the next one. 16 more feet. All right, guys. Well, you see now. Have yourself a great night. Take care of yourselves. Hey guys, one more thing. Maria keeps telling me I should add at the end of my videos that if you are enjoying watching these, hit the like button. It's supposed to up the number of views somehow, and you can also get notifications if you subscribe to it. Whenever I put a new video, we'll hopefully be coming out with one once a week. Sometimes if it gets really boring, or I've got a bunch of rain days and that, maybe we'll skip it and just go every 2 weeks. But I'll try to give you guys updates on what I'm doing and where I am with it. And you guys, like I said, if you can hit the like button on these, I appreciate it. Thanks so very much again.